Welcome to Texas Game Day Final, presented by thezebra.com.
The Texas defense just needed a stop to force Oklahoma. Kennedy Brooks, no! 33 yards for the touchdown, and that did it. OU takes down Texas 55-48. And the celebration ensues. The golden hat will go the way of the guys in crimson and cream. The Oklahoma Sooners win the Red River Shootout, and they do it in about as dramatic fashion as we've seen. Largest comeback win for Oklahoma in this Red River Showdown, and you see the dejection, the confusion. Right now, the Texas players just wondering what happened. We had this game in control. 2 minutes into the game, Texas had a 14-0 lead. And Oklahoma comes back to win the game. Welcome to Texas Game Day Final, presented by thezebra.com. Laura Galindo here with Fozzie Whitaker and Michael Griffin. I use George Strait quotes from his songs from time to time to open up shows, and I'll do it again. I hate everything. I'll just leave it at that. 21-point blown lead. The biggest blown lead in Texas program history. Griff, this one stings. It stings because it looked like it was different with Sark coming in. He had the guys dialed in early on, and at the half, we were about to book our tickets to Indy for the national championship game. Maybe not that far. But at the end of the day,
East of Dallas.
some things change, some things stay the same.
It's tough because you're really trying to figure out where this thing went wrong. Literally, you have Caleb Williams come in, who's a freshman quarterback, and you're thinking, hey, when this guy comes in, we can definitely, derail him and get him rattled. But he came in like he was just ready for this moment. And I said going into this game, this is where, stars are born. This is where whoever has the better quarterback play, this is where you come in and you win this game. And Caleb Williams got a shot, and he literally took over in the second half. And, he just never looked back. It's hats off to him, but at the same time, you're like, Texas, where did you drop the ball at? Like, where? Well,
it's tough to say there's a difference now, right? Everything will be compared to the past. Mm-hmm. And now, in 2 straight years, you lose to an Oklahoma team that's playing their backup quarterback in the game.
Yeah, and that's probably the most frustrating thing is you see the way that this game, started off in the first half, and it can be summed up as a tale of 2 halves with these 2 teams. But you think whenever Spencer Rattler gets benched that you have an opportunity to really put your foot on the throat.
Yeah.
And it seems like that was the complete opposite. Spencer Rattler getting benched this year turned into the evolution of Caleb Williams being the man for Oklahoma. And now, where does Texas turn to, I think, is the biggest question, because you have a 21-point lead blown like that. You feel dejected, and I bet these players are feeling like we just lost everything because we had it all in front of us, and now where do we go to? So they have to figure out a way to close games out, number one, and then number 2, you got to win at the line of scrimmage, and that was apparent that Oklahoma was just a better defensive and offensive front whenever it came down to game on the line in the fourth quarter.
Reminds me of the early 2000s. Nate Hibble goes down, Jason White comes in. Jason White becomes an Oklahoma legend, leading Oklahoma to the win over Texas, and then going on to have a Heisman career at the University of Oklahoma. This is why OU fans have been clamoring for Caleb Williams. It's tough, though. It's in a lot of ways, it probably stings more than the loss against Arkansas. Against Arkansas, you just got your butt kicked from the get-go. You had this game as close as you can have a game won at halftime and find a way. I'm not sure if you gave it away as much as Oklahoma took it away, but it was definitely both parts because Texas looked like a far cry from the team that we saw in the first half. And there were some bright spots. Xavier Worthy, that's a great storyline of a guy having the confidence of his coach, right? Makes a mistake, returning the kick out of the deep of the end zone, fumbling the football. OU gets it. They take the lead. He comes back, has a big reception. Texas gets the ball away, and then comes back and has the game-tying touchdown.
Yep.
There's great things to talk about individually, but all of that doesn't matter unless Texas gets the win here. It's like at halftime. We're talking about Bijan Robinson having his Heisman Trophy moment. It's gone. It's gone. The Heisman Trophy moment does not matter unless you win this game.
Well, I think their game plan was to obviously take away Bijan in the second half. I think
they
they
did.
tried to do that in the first half. It just was unsuccessful. But the second half, for whatever reason, they came with a different attitude. And I think Texas maybe came off the gas a little bit. It's supposed to be all gas, no brakes. And they took that foot off the gas, and
No doubt.
Oklahoma saw that and said, okay, we're coming full steam ahead. And Bijan could not get it going in the second half, no matter what Texas ran.
Yeah, and I mean, you go back, you look, it was, you say stop the bleeding somehow, some way. And on the defense side of the ball, it was just as if they could not get the stop. They could not get the turnover that they needed.
Especially on third down.
And it was like, even when they thought that they can get one, when you had Jamison rip the ball out, like, okay, it's going to get the momentum song, but it's like, no, it didn't work. Kennedy Brooks, they said it was down by contact, and they went and scored again. So it goes both ways. I mean, when you win ball games, you win as a team, you lose as a team. And when you look at it, it was special teams fell apart in the second half when you have the strip fumble. You have the defense. We started giving up big plays. The run, we can't stop the run. You're giving up deep balls. Then on the offense side of the ball, we're coming 3 and out, 3 and out, 3 and out. So collectively, Texas as a team, the second half, they just couldn't get anything going.
Even game management stuff, the end of the third quarter, like running a play
Right before
the end of the
the
quarter,
quarter.
when it's a pretty conservative play call. It's like if that's the play you're going to run,
Just waiting until
I mean, it was
Take it
literally
to the
like, hey,
fourth.
listen, let's just let it go to fourth quarter, and let's come over and let's talk about it. Let's try to recoup. But then you run that play, and you open up fourth quarter with a third down, and now you're trying to figure out how you're going to manage that. So it just seems like, I asked the question, did Texas run out of those first 15 plays? Like, did they just, okay, we hit them with everything. Hopefully this just works, and now we have nothing else. But it would just seem to, they never, the same play with Kennedy Brooks, direct snap. For some reason, they never corrected it. It hit big. It hit big in the first half, and they just continued just to come back with it, and then it was the game winner. It was a play that Texas
That
could
can't
not
happen.
figure out.
that can't happen.
Not at all.
Not at all.
And happen repeatedly. And the backbreaker is third down. You look at overall, 9 of 19 for Oklahoma on third down. But late in the game, you go to the play-by-play, it's consistently Caleb Williams, third down, finding Marvin Mims.
Yep.
Not for like 5 or 6.
No.
We're talking backbreakers.
52 yards.
Yeah. Yeah, and I don't know, like what happens in that situation when it's repeatedly happening. In some of these plays, it's like Caleb Williams is dropping the snap, looking like Michael Dixon, picking it up with one-handed, and then making a play out of nothing.
And it's apparent that you looked at the Texas defense, they're not used to when you look at the mobile quarterbacks. And Caleb Williams is a very mobile quarterback. Yes, we always looked at, Max Duggan and these guys that have just a little bit of mobility. But Caleb Williams had more mobility, which you saw. He outran everybody for a touchdown. But it's the thing, when you come and approach those guys, especially on the defensive side of the ball, and you have a free shot at them, you're not going to just get that just free shot.
Yep.
You're going to have to settle down and try to come together and take the correct approach. But again, later on, we thought that Marvion Overshawn had the sack. And again, now you see what type of quarterback, and he's strong enough to stay up and still get the ball out. So, looking at Texas, this is somebody you're going to have to deal with for some time now.
Well, we talked in the pregame show about how close is the gap between these two programs. We thought it was close. It's not as close as we thought it would be going into this game because it is apparent on the line of scrimmage, Oklahoma is still on a different level.
Yep.
With the O-line and especially the D-line, they are on a different level than Texas right now in terms of their front line guys and depth as well. Because you go to the second half and OU absolutely dominated both sides of the line of scrimmage.
Yeah, and I think the defensive line was where it really became more apparent because
Jacoby Jones
once you
went down.
Yes,
That hurts.
Well, I'm talking about Oklahoma's defensive
Gotcha.
line against
Okay.
Texas' offensive line, and I say that because we were stressing about why is Bijan not getting more touches, and that was probably me personally asking for more touches. Keep the ball on the ground, first down, see what you get, because Bijan is that special. He can make people miss, but those guys were in the backfield. Bijan make one miss, and another guy was still coming. And usually Bijan can turn them into 5 to 6 yards. But with Oklahoma, it was maybe a 0 yard or 1 yard gain. So I think in that second half, the Oklahoma defensive front really came alive and took away the run game. And that's something that obviously takes the pressure off of Casey and Sark because it gives them opportunity to open up the playbook, which they just weren't able to do so.
Yeah, and I think you go back, it's a mindset. We keep talking about the offensive line not being able to block, but it's a mindset. It comes to a point now when you're 5, 6 games down the road, like, hey, listen, I got to get my job done. But then it's like, who's behind you pushing you? And that's where the question is when we said, how close are these two teams? We saw just like that. Lincoln Riley says, hey, it's okay. You sit down. You come on in. We also saw the receiving core. We saw different guys making different plays. We were saying, like, who is this guy? And that's the one thing that you see when you look at how close these teams are. It's almost like Sark is having to deal with the hand that he's dealt. And Lincoln Riley had an opportunity to recruit years in and years out to get these guys in that says, hey, they may be young, but we're going to catch them up to speed, or I believe in this guy can come in if this guy right here is not getting his job done. But right now, it has to have a coming to Jesus talk within the locker room because that right there should never happen. 21, that should never happen.
Look at this, though. The way it comes down to this, Lincoln Riley just reminding everybody where he stands right now in the Big 12 and the college football ranks. The guy's still a young dude, right? We were praising Texas. Texas was being praised by the national media coming into this game, despite the fact they had a loss, Oklahoma didn't. We were trashing Lincoln Riley's brisket, right? Like throwing at it from all different directions, and Lincoln Riley is sitting back right now saying, bring it on, we can take it, because guess what? There's a team that's going to play in the Big 12 championship, and we know it's going to be Oklahoma at this point in time, and they are still in great position to play for the college football playoff again. So Lincoln Riley reminding everyone, I'm still the dude in the Big 12 until something changes. Joshua Moore had a good comeback game, but was in the first half. Couldn't get the offense going in the second half. And OU comes back to win, 55-48.
Texas Game Day Final.
Well, it started really well. If you're wearing burnt orange, feeling good about what you saw from Texas in the first half. Casey Thompson getting his first career start in the Red River Shootout. His dad, starting quarterback back in the day for OU. Right off the bat, first play, Fozzie Xavier Worthy going 75.
Yeah, making guys miss and then using that speed that he's known for and really taking it to the house on the first play.
Shortly after that, Texas defense ready. DeMarvion Overshown was awesome in the first half, Griff.
Oh, man, Straps right there, making the sack right there, just started off fast.
And then you got special teams. Overshown with the block the very next play.
Hey, Straps is ready to play. Early in the game, he was ready.
And that's what makes this loss even more troubling. They had success in every phase of the game.
I mean, you had 14 points in less than 2 minutes.
And special teams led to a touchdown.
Yes.
Defense led to a touchdown, not directly, but on the next drives after turnovers or blocks like that. There's Bijan, and it's 14-0, like you said. We haven't even played 2 minutes of football. Rattler, this was a huge play early on a 3rd and 10.
Yeah, I thought the receiver stepped out, but was able to come back in, make a play, kept his foot in bounds, ended up being a great catch for him.
Spencer Rattler is going to keep this one, and Oklahoma is on the board. Makes it a 14-7 game. Texas defense would come up with a stop. B.J. Foster with the INT.
Hey, great interception right there to get this momentum swinging back in their way.
And Bijan Robinson starts to get the Texas offense going once again. 14 yards, another nice stiff arm.
Yeah, boy, he just makes it look so easy. And then with the finish, put that finishing touch on it.
What do you like about this play call, Griff?
Hey, right, RPO with a fade route, I just never seen it before, but hey, you want to line up man-to-man, got to beat us, Casey. He's doing it.
21-7, get to the quarterback. Spencer Rattler just is not comfortable with a hint of pressure.
Oh, Oh, man, he sees anything in the opposite color of white. He's trying to get out of there.
And Alfred Collins gets the sack there. Time to take that shot. Get with it.
Boom! There he is, Joshua Moore, touchdown catch. They finally connected on him.
28 points in the first quarter. 28 points in the first quarter. Uh-oh. The changing of the guard. Caleb Williams comes in. Now, at this point in time, that was just a wrinkle. That was getting him a snap. But it worked. And we would see later in the game, Williams would take over at quarterback because Rattler was having issues holding on to the ball. Stripped out there. Ben Davis with the strip. Of course, Straps is coming up with it. And then we dubbed this a Heisman run. And that was the first half. This is awesome.
Gosh, Lee, just making so many people miss tackles. That was 8 missed tackles on this play alone. And that stiff arm was like
Wiley,
the
get somebody,
icing on
Wiley.
the
Get
cake.
somebody, Wiley. Okay.
Woo! Well, Wiley was setting himself up.
He was setting himself up for this very next play.
He's going to get the next one.
Come on, Wiley. Oh, look, there he goes.
Look at that stiff arm.
Hey, number 5, do a flip. He's happy now that he won.
But that play by Bijan, I mean, it just makes you say, wow, and appreciate his all-around versatility and skill level. Haven't seen that in a really, really long time. There is Wiley. It's 35-17 now. Williams is the dude at quarterback now for OU. And Sean Jameson breaks it up. So this is a stretch now where it's a lot of field goals by Oklahoma. And Texas, to their credit, did a really good job inside the 30 holding the field goals.
Yeah, right before the halftime, you know, Coach Sark trying to get more points, takes a shot to Xavier Worthy. I thought he did an unbelievable job of getting down the field to set up this field goal.
Hey, by my guy, Dicker the kicker.
Dicker the kicker. And we go to the break, 38-20. All is well in Dallas for the Longhorns. And he got more pressure. Overshown. Somehow ends up in the hands of Austin Stogner, but again, it's a field goal. And you're not feeling too concerned about this at this point.
Yeah, with 6 minutes left in the third, you think Texas is still going to find a way to get it done.
Texas got backed up too often. It's first and 20. Bijan, though, finds a way to make something happen going sideline, 33 yards, almost broke it, and that would be big because this was a drive that ended in a field goal. 3rd and 7. Washington almost has his moment. Almost.
It's just not good enough.
So this game came down to Marcus Washington didn't get his foot in, barely, and Marvin Mims barely got his foot down. Coming up later in this highlight. So they got a field goal there. It's 41-23. And Kennedy Brooks, 65 yards. And this is when it looked like, Griff, the wheels were just falling off the Texas defense.
It's just falling because, I mean, they just continue to go to the same play over and over again. And it seems like Texas had no answer. And then right here, we thought Jameson had a strip fumble. And apparently his right knee was down before they can get the ball out.
That's the right call.
It is.
It is, but it's upsetting because it might have been a different ball game.
There's a lot of it that was upsetting. Those are big boys and girls, and we move on. And
Like this is upsetting.
yeah. And that's a 3rd and 11.
Yeah, 3rd down killed him.
And Mims gets his name on the board.
So it's 41-30. A 3rd and 5 for Williams. Eludes the pressure from Thompson and just chucks it downfield. And he's got a man, Marvin Mims.
Yeah, that's just tough right there. B.J. Foster lost it in the air. And
3rd and 5 in the red zone. Too high for Hazelwood. So Burkich comes on, and it's a field goal for Oklahoma. 41-33. And now you're feeling nervous. Now you're like, this is too close for comfort.
a little nervous, but we still in this, though.
Oh, yeah. It's a one-point game. A one-possession game, I should say, until
This,
Marvin Mims.
again.
3rd and 19.
Marvin Mims.
That's a great catch, though. I ain't even gonna lie.
No, that was it. 2-point conversion. Rattler comes back in the game, and it's Drake.
Deja vu, same play from last year.
Ties it up at 41. This is really tough. The freshman taking it out deep, Xavier Worthy. This ball is just stripped. I mean, it's just ripped right out by Caleb Kelly. And there was a lot of confusion, like, did it actually come out? Reviewed it, and yes, indeed, it came out.
Clean strip. I mean, he landed on the ground with it, so, you know, questionable call, young guy trying to make a play, who made a lot of plays in this
Well,
game.
and still, at this point in time, it's like, hold them to a field goal, and it's all good.
Or you could run the same play Oklahoma been running all day.
Direct snap.
48-41. So 6.5 minutes. Casey Thompson letting it fly to Worthy. 48 yards. Got a credit start going over there, picking up Worthy, saying, it's okay, I believe in you. He made that play. Go for it on 4th and 11 with 4:42 left, looking for Bijan. It's not there. So Oklahoma gets the football back. Texas needs a stop. They get the stop. But again, Williams almost makes the play.
Right. Isn't that crazy?
It's a bright future, to say the least, there. So 2:55, Texas gets the football back. Cade Brewer, 11 yards. Next play, Xavier Worthy, 14 yards.
Casey was still throwing downs late in the game.
2 plays later, to the freshman from Cali. It's Worthy, what a grab. And that ties it up after the extra point. It's 48 all, but too much time left on the clock. 1:23 for Caleb Williams and OU. And they just start picking apart the Texas defense.
I don't know what Cook was doing there. You don't push him out or tackle him. That kind of frustrated me.
And right here, this is frustrating. Say, make Burkett beat you on a field goal. Maybe he shanks it. Don't give him that.
But it's the same play.
Direct snap. Counter.
So Oklahoma takes it 55-48. Brooks, 25 carries, 217, and 2. Caleb Williams. I don't even have a picture of the dude. I don't even have a picture of the dude. And he is the difference maker. Here is Steve Sarkisian.
Alrighty. Well, obviously, hard-fought game, you know. Give them a lot of credit for, you know, fighting their way back into the game and ultimately getting the lead. You know, I think a lot of the story was, you know, one, in the second half, you know, we struggled to get first downs. We put ourselves in 3rd and longs, and they kept building on the momentum of it. And they were capitalized on the opportunities. And I give our guys a lot of credit for the resolve to go down and score. You know, unfortunately, they hit us with a couple big plays, and they made the plays. You know, I'd love to say that the call was wrong here or there, but you know, the 50-50 balls that went up in the air, they came down with them. And you know, it was the broken play. The broken plays really hurt us the most today with the quarterback kind of improvising and flinging the ball up down the field, and they caught it, you know, and then ultimately the run game kicked in for them. I wish we could have capitalized more offensively in the second half to try to extend the lead a little bit. We didn't. But, you know, big picture wise, we've, you know, this will test our mettle. All right. We'll find out what we're made of. We've got to bounce back next week. We've got another great football team coming to DKR with an opportunity to get ourselves right before the bye, which I think we will. You know, I love the heart and desire of our team, the mentality of our team. But this one hurts. That's what sport's about. You know, when you play a tight game and a rivalry game, it hurts. So we're going to have to pick ourselves back up to play a really good opponent next week, and then have the bye, and then go into the second half of the season, you know, with an opportunity to see what we can do. And, you know, ultimately, you know, my mindset is I'd love to get another crack at these guys, hopefully in December. So that's that.
All right, we'll open up for questions. Let's start with Brian Davis. Anwar, you'll be up next.
Steve, how much do you attribute kind of just the breakdown of the offensive line as the second half wore on as to a root cause of y'all's problems today?
You know, they had a really good defensive front. We knew that going into the game. We felt we had a good plan to do some things. They started to get more penetration up front defensively, which is pretty much what we saw on tape all year long. And in the first half, I thought we stabilized that, and we didn't have that penetration. And then it started to get a little bit leaky. You know, that when you're playing a good front over time, that the whole key to the drill is winning on first down, so you don't put yourself into third and long. And that's what we were struggling to do there in the second half. We were losing 1st and 10, and we were playing second and long, third and long football. And that's a hard way to operate consistently. So, looking back, 1st and 10 was probably, one of the keys offensively where we struggled.
All right, Anwar, go ahead.
Coach, you guys gave up over 600 yards of offense. What was happening on defense, and can you speak to the lack of a pass rush today?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing, a lot of their plays, to their credit, and they made the change at quarterback. A lot of the plays they were creating were on kind of broken plays. Was the quarterback out of the pocket? We lost our rush contain leverage, our rush lanes, and the quarterback was able to extend plays. And then I think there might have been 3 50-50 balls or so, maybe more, that got kind of flung up in the air, and they made the play. Even the one at the end, he gets his toe in bounds for the touchdown. That was a big key to it. I think the other side of it is when you look at the time of possession, they had the ball for 35 minutes. They ran 81 plays. We were a little today. We only ran 61 plays and had the ball for 24 minutes. So that's a long time having those guys on the field. It's, at the end of the day, when these two teams get together, this is kind of the story, right? The ball is going up and down the field. You got to try to find a way to create turnovers, which we did early. Unfortunately, the one that we had on the kickoff return was a costly one right there in the fourth quarter that gave him the short field for the touchdown.
All right, Jenny Carlson, you're up next. John High, you'll be in the on deck.
Hey, Steve, I was wondering if you could talk a little bit about Kennedy Brooks. They went to the direct snap with him, I think, on 3 or 4 occasions, and a couple of them were those late touchdowns. What was it about that particular play that gave you guys trouble, and just him overall having a big day against your defense?
Yeah, he had a nice game. Obviously, the run there at the end was a huge one. The direct snap play did a nice job. They had kind of a little window dressing with the motion. We lost our eyes a little bit at linebacker with the motion. The direct snap, the timing is a little bit different on your traditional play on the counter play. They blocked it well. I think we had a couple opportunities there. I don't think it was really a surprise that it was coming. We just didn't fit the run right. And then he had the explosiveness to crease it and find the end zone.
Go ahead, John.
Coach, what's going through your mind in the second half when they're starting to rally? And you said you'll find out what your team is made of next week. What did you find out they were made of today?
We fought like crazy. It wasn't about effort today. We battled. There was, I don't know how many bang plays. What amazing effort by Deshaun Jameson to rip the ball out on the long run, and they review it and say he was down. They fling a couple balls up, 3 balls up, 50-50 balls. They caught it. It wasn't for effort. It wasn't for our guys just completely blowing coverages and things. It was, they made those plays, and in the end, that effort and that resolve and our ability to go down and score is what we have to continue to build this program on. Is our style of play, our effort. We'll get better. But in the short term, our mettle is going to get tested in that. Can we bounce back, and how quickly can we bounce back for a quality opponent next week?
All right, Sam Kahn, you're up. Bob Ballou, you're up next.
Hey, Steve, I'm curious, just from a big picture standpoint, are you concerned just about the run defense as a whole?
I'm not necessarily concerned. I think 3 of the long runs came on the direct snap play. So obviously we have an issue there. We've got to get that fixed. Another one kind of spit late. They definitely got a charge in the run game when they changed quarterbacks, and it came into a little bit more of a zone read, quarterback reading things, potential pulls. I thought that slowed us down a little bit. I thought we were playing pretty good in the run early on. When it went to a different style of game, That's the part we've got to get fixed, and we got to be able to make those adjustments and the players, coaches, players included, in game when something like that happens.
All right, Bob, go ahead. Nick Moyle, you'll be up next.
Yeah, Sark, I know Xavier had the fumble coming out of the end zone, but can you talk about his day offensively and just how good he was from the word go, obviously, on the first play all the way through?
Yeah, I mean, that's totally what he's capable of. You guys heard me talk about it last week. I thought, how he played last week was totally out of character. I think this is what he's capable of. This guy's a dynamic playmaker. I think that was a really cool moment for him to bounce back from the fumble and make such a contested catch at a critical moment for the touchdown. But the guy's a great player now, but his future is even brighter. We're fortunate to have him.
All right, Nick, go ahead. Chris Tavares, you're up next.
Yeah, Steve, Bijan ends up, I think it's 137 yards on 20 carries. But, a lot of that was on the two big plays that he had. So I think without that, it's 54 yards on 18 carries, especially later in the second half. It seems like they were giving you problem in the run game. What was Oklahoma doing to sort of stymie you guys in that phase?
Well, I mean, coming into the game, there was no secret. These guys led the country in tackles for loss. They're a penetrating defensive front. I think it's the strength of their team, quite frankly. So we, as much as we could control the line of scrimmage, that was going to be a bonus for us. But we had a feeling coming in, it might be some big little plays, where you got to grind out the 3-yard runs. But there was going to be some ones that were going to hit, and that's kind of how the game went. I mean, I don't think anybody's feeling sorry for him rushing 20 times for 137 yards, averaging 6.8 a carry against that front. They had stoned the run coming into the game. So for us to generate that in the run game, I think we would have taken it.
We'll have more from Sark coming up on Monday with his weekly press conference, flipping it forward with the game coming up against Oklahoma State. That's at 11 a.m. Central Time. And then it is Rewind, full hour with Coach Sark. Looking back at this game against OU, you'll catch that 7 p.m. Central Time right here on LA Gym. Hey, Griff, it's your friends.
I love horses.
You may or may not have punched those back in the day.
Defense got it again, turns the corner, makes people miss, makes one of those cuts, looking like Reggie Bush in the open field. Number 5 still running all the way to the 1-yard line.
Breaks a tackle, cuts back, turns it outside to the 30. One man to beat to the 20. A spectacular run from Bijan Robinson.
This kid is big time. This kid may be the best player in the sport.
That is the most inspiring video featuring a corn dog I've ever seen. The music, slow-mo, the ketchup, the mustard, brilliant, brilliant execution. Unrattled, this was the Oklahoma offense today because they started with Spencer Rattler, and he was a little shaken up back there in the pocket. 31 plays with him, 151 total yards, 1 touchdown. And then you see Caleb Williams enters the game in the second quarter with his guys trailing 35-17, 50 snaps, 511 total yards, 5 touchdowns. I think Oklahoma has a new quarterback. After the game, Alex Loeb caught up with Moro Ojomo.
Moro, what a wild, bizarre ball game. Take me through what happened out there today.
First of all, I just want to thank God. I want to thank this staff, this community, all the fans at home for supporting us. We wish that we could have come out with the outcome that we wanted, but things didn't go the way we wanted. And kudos to Oklahoma, right? They kept playing, they pushed through, and they came out on top. But in life, you lose sometimes, and you got to learn from it and just keep going because it's done. We could have done more, and we need to do more, obviously, after losing a game like that.
What do you think the defense could have done more differently? What could have changed in the second half?
we weren't prepared for the counter. The OU's bread and butter has been the counter, and they ran the counter, and they beat us up with the counter, quite simply.
Is it something you all had practice to prepare against during the week, or what happened there?
We just need to execute better. We know going into the game, counters are top run. You look at OU over the last couple of years, counters are top run, and we should just stop the counter. That's what we need to do.
What was said in the locker room after the game?
We're one. We're a team. It's going to test us, and losses do that to you in life, right? You can't go undefeated in life, whoever you are, and we just need to come together as one. Let the taste not depart from our mouths, but understand it and almost let it add to the fuel of what we want to accomplish this season.
Well said. Thanks, Morrow.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Now time for the All-State Good Hands play of the game. You want some special teams? We got Demo, DeMarvion Overshone, a.k.a. Straps, coming up with the block punt. We had a Keelan Robinson block punt earlier this season as well. So the Texas special teams getting after it. That would turn into a touchdown for the Texas offense a couple plays later. So DeMarvion Overshone providing the All-State Good Hands play of the game.
Straps!
Yeah, that's the man. Hey, good to see Joshua Moore get it going. A couple of touchdowns for him. How are the awards coming up on Texas Game Day Final?
Looks to throw. Hit! Ball loose! Oh, Anthony Cook!
Thompson with a quick throw. Another bullet on the money to Xavier Worthy.
Make way for the rookie of the year with the swing. I'll be big Texas repping from the corner of the state. Bum B, hand it off to me, I'll run it all the way.
Breaks 345-50. Staying good night to this one. Roshan Johnson.
Thompson got a receiver there. And what a grab by Jordan Whittington.
Xavier, you had such a great game individually, but I know you obviously couldn't come out with the win. How much does this one hurt for you right now?
This is my first one. It hurts me for the older guys because some of them is their last one, so we wanted to come out and just execute it for them. But it's not. We want to see them again in the Big 12 championship.
I was going to say, is that the way you're approaching it? Like, you'll be back. You're going to get a few more cracks at this, obviously.
Yes, sir. We're taking it week by week. This one kind of hit us in the chin, so we want to come back next week against Oklahoma State before our bye week and dominate that.
First play of the game, you take it to the house. What was going through your mind there?
We went over it and walked through this morning. It felt good. We all talked about taking this to the house, like on some joke around stuff, but it ended up happening, so it was a big play.
The offense was lights out in the first half, and I'm asking all the guys on your side of the ball, what changed in the second half?
We got a little lackadaisical. Started giving in. Just a little lack of effort, but we'll come back next week for a go.
You think maybe fatigue set in at all? Did that have anything to do with it?
Maybe.
What was said in the locker room afterwards? I know you guys got another big game in a week. What was being talked about?
Coach Sark said, "Chin up. Your guys' effort was there. We just got to finish it. Once you have them, you got to hold them there. So we want to come back next week and execute that."
Thanks, Xavier.
Sir.
Only Jordan Shipley with more receiving yards in a single game in any Texas game than that man, Xavier Worthy. Let's get into our post-game awards. We start with the Pesher. This goes to the top catch, and let's keep it with Xavier Worthy. Laying out. What do you think, Boston?
That was a huge play right before half to be able to get points on the board, but laying out, that was huge right there. I think it's a beautiful catch.
Worthy had himself a game, so that is today's contender. We compare it to this one from Jordan Whittington. Nah, I gotta go with Jay Witt.
Boy, that's a grown man play right there.
I'm going with Jay Witt.
I hope he's healthy too after this game.
Yeah, Sark was saying a clavicle issue left the game, and doesn't sound good, but no actual update on the extent of that injury. So we will stay tuned Monday and hopefully find out more. Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Look how many people
stiff
ended up
arm.
on the ground. Watch out, buddy.
Get out the way.
Get on in there, baby.
Yeah. When you can resort to sound effects, that's how you know it's
Get
good.
out. Get over here. Get down. Oh, go block. Okay.
Is it better than this?
Absolutely.
We're going with Bijan?
New Ricky, baby.
I'm gonna have to go with the new one.
Gotta go. It is.
You want to keep comparing them? It's time for him to take that ring.
There it is. Bijan.
Sorry, Roshan.
The new Ricky. And then the VY, the top pass of the game. Casey. That's up a really good game. That's a nice touch there to Joshua Moore.
And the placement on that, the play call, everything came together, and then Joshua Moore being on the receiving end of that, man, it's a thing of perfection.
I feel good about Casey, where he's going.
Oh, absolutely.
How he handles everything. Give him a little more protection, some more weapons, and good things happen. Is it better than this?
I kind of like the new one better.
I'm going to go with the new one.
I'm going new one as well. Joshua
because
Moore.
It seems like it's a further throw, more precise, and you had to get it. I like that.
All right. So we got a new one for the VY. Then we got the jammer. Straps. The Marvion overshown.
That was a nice sack.
Nice sack.
You're not going to get covered. Make a play, baby.
Hey, bye, Rattler.
Free shot. Overshawn takes it. It's better than this.
Not at all. No.
Anthony Cook.
The fumble and the fumble recovery.
Yeah. He was thinking scoop and score too. Played that on loop.
Got rear-ended.
So Anthony Cook will remain as the champ with the jammer, the top hit. It was the best of times. It was the worst of times. Still putting up them horns with pride, even though Texas drops it 55-48. We'll wrap it up after the break.
Texas Game Day Final.
Pitch it out to the perimeter. And that's Xavier Worthy. It's a sprint. They won't catch Worthy. Texas touchdown. Thompson to the end zone. Touchdown.
Casey looking to throw. Going to take a deep shot. Wide open downfield. Touchdown, Texas.
They take it to Robinson. Pitch it across the middle. Touchdown. Caught from Thompson. His fourth.
Casey Thompson. This is his big moment right here.
Thompson steps up. Delivers for Worthy. Touchdown, Texas! Charles Thompson high-fiving in the Bowdoin section.
Casey Thompson, the poise that he just demonstrated on this drive, remarkable.
Casey, your first Red River Showdown start. What did you make of this contest today?
I was very excited going into the game. This is a great college football game. It's a great rivalry, and you know, I knew it was going to be a tough game. We knew it was going to be a hard battle for 4 quarters, and that's what it was today. Unfortunately, it's not, you know, the outcome that we wanted, but we just have to continue to be positive. And I really enjoyed every moment, and I enjoyed the atmosphere and the experience, and I felt very comfortable the whole day and very poised.
You and the rest of the offense were putting up huge numbers in the first half. In your eyes, what changed in the second half?
I just think that we have to be able to focus and execute with our backs against the wall, do a better job when we're backed up. But we have to give credit to the opposing defense. They did a good job of creating pressure and causing some disruption. And, you know, they didn't let Bijan get going how he was in the first half. And so, you know, to win football games, we're going to have to be able to run the ball. And we need to do better at that. And so I think that's what happened in the third quarter specifically.
I was going to say, what adjustments did they make? How did they come out of the locker room presenting a different defense to you, a different look?
No, they didn't present anything different. The whole day they did exactly what they showed on film. They're pretty true to who they are as a defense and as a team. And like I said, we just have to do a better job executing.
You're the leader of this team. You're the starting quarterback. Guys look to you after games like this. What do you say to the team after a heartbreaker like this one?
I walked around on the sideline towards the end of the game and just told everybody, keep your head up, keep your head up. No matter what happens, we have to fight until the clock hits, you know, double zeros. And we did that. And I'm going to continue to, you know, take this one, watch the film, make the corrections. But as a leader of the offense and of this team, my message is going to be stay positive and get back to work. You know, everything that we're doing well, we have to continue to do better. And we have to correct and fix the things that we need to improve on.
Thanks, Casey.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
It's like a Head and Shoulders commercial, you know, with the hair blowing.
The flow.
Looking good.
Perfect.
Hey, this is Stella the Tape, presented by thezebra.com. Got to bounce back against a team that's 5-0. And like Oklahoma coming into this game, Oklahoma State has not looked pretty, but they are finding ways to win. And really, it's been the defense carrying Oklahoma State this season while they get Spencer Sanders going and try to find some new go-to receivers. But Texas needs this game. This now turns into a must-win game against a team that's 5-0.
Absolutely. And one thing that I know for sure Oklahoma State is going to test Texas defense with is the run game, because they will hand the ball off to Jaylen Warren 35 times in a game, as he's done already. So they're going to find out exactly how well that they've been able to cover the counter. Like Moro Ojimo said, Oklahoma loves to run the counter. Oklahoma State is in that same boat. Has Texas found a way to stop that run game? I don't know. We'll find out next week.
Yeah, and again, you say Texas put themselves, they pretty much right now control their own destiny when it comes to getting to the Big 12 championship, because now you kind of dug yourself a little hole, but if you lose another one, now you're digging yourself a big hole. So right now, you control your destiny right now. So it almost turns into like must-wins from here on out, because if you lose one, now you're dealing with Oklahoma State and hoping that other teams fall to different teams. So you can't do that, because that's what they've done in the past. So hopefully we see a different team going in the future.
You think this team's psyche will be okay bouncing back from something like this? That's tough. That's a tough loss.
But, you know, I think the difference is that they saw what they did versus Arkansas. They bounced back. Then you saw what you can do and what you're capable of. But now you got to go back and correct the mistakes. That's a good thing, that you have things to look at. Because I think Arkansas was even more tough because you really didn't have any bright spots. But today, you had a lot of bright spots.
But at least there was something to change, right? You change quarterback in the next game. I don't anticipate any changes like that. They also need to get healthy. I mean, the condition of Jordan Whittington, that is going to be healthy, because now more and more teams are going to try to make Casey Thompson beat them. Now, will Oklahoma State be able to do what Oklahoma was able to do with their front seven to slow down Bijan Robinson? We'll find that out. But it is a different look team for Mike Gundy, where the defense has really been what's carried Oklahoma State. Oklahoma State off this week, so they're on the bye. They'll come back next week, so that game will be at DKR. Looking at another potential early start after this loss, as Texas lets a golden opportunity slip away, and that golden hat head up north to Norman, Oklahoma, as the Oklahoma Sooners take the Red River Shootout. A lot of fun today. We appreciate everybody. Crew, thanks for watching Texas Game Day Final.